When I was a kid, I was very curious. I wanted to know how planes fly. I wanted to know the difference between bronze and gold. I wanted to be Prime Minister of Israel. I wanted to be a billionaire. I wanted to be a pop star. I wanted to invent fire, like make something at that level of impact for the world. And I also was the kid who could not finish reading a book and could not spell my last name. I really wanted to learn. It was just so clear to me that that was how I was going to be the person that I wanted to be. Almost every single person that you've heard of that's done a massive impact on the world, almost all of them, read books like crazy.
I just read and read and read. I probably read 5 to 6 hours a day.
Is listening the best way for everybody to learn? You know, 60% of kids who were in high school 30 years ago would read books for fun. Today, that's less than 5%. And the reason is, you know, it's completely understandable. If you grew up on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, reading is just too slow of a bandwidth connection to the brain. Your brain moves a lot faster than that, and you're used to moving fast. I'm sure you've had the experience of sitting in class and the teacher is talking, and you're like, okay, like,
get on with it, I understand this.
The nice thing about listening is you can just listen at 3x speed. And that's something that you can't do in reading. Like, really, there's a maximum speed that you can read at, and after that, you're stuck at that speed. But listening, you can go a lot faster. It's like driving a go-kart, but you have to drive at like 30% the normal speed. Every person has at least 4 or 5 hours of dead time. You're in commute, you're eating, you're cooking, you're brushing your teeth. When I wake up, the first thing that happens is I put my AirPods in and I start to listen. And so, you know, if I have 4 hours in a day, I can finish a book in that time. Another question that we get a lot is, when do you choose audiobooks versus mentors?
I bumped into a mentor and another mentor, and I found 5 mentors.
I do both. I do all of them. So let's say there's a topic that I want to learn how to do really well. Let's say how to hire. I'll read every book about the topic, like 100 books on how to hire people. And then I'll find the best people at hiring in the world, and I'll get them on Zoom calls with me. But the thing is, you know, it's very hard to get, you know, Elon Musk, who's really good at hiring, to spend time talking to you on the phone. It's much easier to read an article by Elon Musk about the topic, or to read, you know, a book that he wrote. I'll give you an example. There was a time I took a flight from San Francisco to Providence, Rhode Island, and I was listening to the book that Obama wrote before he got elected president. And that book was 8 hours, and the flight was 5 hours, and I listened at 2 to 3x speed. And it's as if I basically sat next to Obama the entire time on the plane. And I just happened to have like an 8-hour conversation with Obama. So how do you retain the information when you're listening to an audiobook? Good question. The first thing to know is when you start listening to audiobooks for the first time, you're not going to be good at it. You suck in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 audiobooks you listen to. When you start first grade, no one expects you to read fast or comprehend well. So how do you get good at this? Number 1, you practice. Number 2, click the automatic speed ramping feature on the Speechify iPhone app. It'll coach you to listen faster over time. Every 1,000 words, it increases the speed by 1 to 3 words per minute. The nice thing is we've been listening for hundreds of thousands of years. We've only been reading for like 1,000 years. We're a lot better at listening, so your ramp up time is much faster and you can learn to listen fast. It's key that you don't only listen, look at the screen at the same time. You can double, triple your attention if you listen and look at the words being highlighted together. And then, you know, I'm not shy to re-listen to books. The way I think about it is, you know, every person has a tree of knowledge in their brain. The trunk of the tree is, you know, elementary school, middle school, what you learn from your parents, and then there's all these branches. And the branches are often topics you learn about in books. And each piece of information is like a leaf. And if you don't have a branch for the leaf to sit on, it'll flutter away. But if you do have a branch, it'll stay. So let's say you're reading a physics book about superposition, and you hear the example of Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger? Hey Siri, tell me about Schrodinger's cat.
In quantum mechanics, Schrodinger's cat is a thought experiment.
You might not remember what superposition was a second ago because you don't have context around it. But the second or third time you listen to the book, you've already heard the example, and so that leaf of information will stay in your brain. So it ends up being super useful to re-listen to books sometimes because you listen to them again with more context than you had before. Another way to retain stuff better in books you listen to is to actually apply the knowledge from the books while you listen to them. So when I listened to the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, he had a bunch of comfort challenges he suggested people do. And I went and I lay down in a Starbucks to let people think I was a weirdo. What matters is just like figure out why you're excited about learning and then learn. And do it because it's fun, do it because it makes you better. By becoming a learning machine, you make it easier for yourself to understand the world. As a result, you get better at making decisions. As a result, your life becomes more awesome, you become more happy, and you make the lives of your loved ones better. Become a good listener. Happy listening.